Hello everyone and welcome to episode 52 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series. Today we are back on our Norn Ranger, who is a character we have not played in a very long time. This character is the third character that we made in this series, but I've been exploring the Priory on my Savari Necromancer, but today I want to return to doing some map completion in Lornar's Pass, and I want to go ahead and start doing chapter 5 of the personal story on this character as well, which is going to require us to get up to level 50, and then I will also quickly do a story chapter, which we won't really cover too much. I'll just show like 10 seconds of it at some point, but this is going to take like maybe 3 episodes at most, but probably only 2 episodes as we explore through the road and kind of do some map completion in zones that are around the level that we are currently at in the game, but we have not completed yet because we have spent quite a bit of time in Kryda, and we still have some stuff in Ascalon and some stuff in the Shiver Peaks that we can do, and then we'll have more stuff in the Maguma Jungle coming up. So here we are on our Norn character, back in the Shiver Peaks where we left off, where we just completed chapter 3 of the personal story on this character, and we'll be progressing to chapter 5 like I just said, and we were also progressing a map completion in Lornar's Pass, where we are at about 52% complete with this map, and I am hoping to complete that map and get a little bit of the way into the next zone that we can explore in this episode. So we're just going to do a bunch of different tasks and maybe complete a couple events here and there, but mostly focus on doing all the different map completion objectives. We're starting off, we are here in a very beautiful location that is a valley near the Dermot Priory, which we see the mountains there of course, and then we have all the mountains around here, and we're kind of up on a mountain a little bit right now, but we can see that it goes down pretty far, and I just absolutely love this location. I love this Priory Bridge right here, and this is just probably one of my favorite spots in the entire game, where Lornar's Pass is not like my top 10 favorite maps in the game, but it's definitely up there for me as far as the maps go, where if we were looking at like just the core release of the game, it would definitely be like top 10 core maps in the game, maybe like number 5 or 4 or something. But I just absolutely love, like, in the northern part of the map we have all these like snow-capped peaks and all these beautiful trees, and it's just a very nice mountainous and snowy area, where as we get further down south, which we have explored on our Asuran character, where we will start seeing a transition into a more Crichton-y and like Steamspur Mountain-y region, where it's like very green and stuff like that, and it's just like an absolutely beautiful transition, and like the zone as a whole just kind of features two very distinct like types of environments, with like the snowy environment versus the green environment. I just tamed a juvenile white moa as I completed this task here, which I don't think we're going to equip that pet. And then we can take a look at our map and start looking at some other areas around here, where I think first I'll go ahead and grab this waypoint and this point of interest. And there is an event going on right here where there are some steam creatures attacking the steading right here, which is actually currently destroyed, and I think will get rebuilt in the future. But I just want to grab the stuff that I missed the point of interest for here, and then I see a point of interest all the way over here, and then I see a task that we can, or a scout rather, that we can go talk to discover some different tasks. So let's go ahead and just zip over there. We have a champion worm Frostmaw right here, which is kind of funny because there's someone that used to be in my guild, still technically in the guild, but like doesn't play anymore, whose name is Frostmaw, who was like the original guild leader, and then there is Frostmaw here, which is a very interesting worm because the previous guild leader was named after a worm called Frostmaw that was in the original Guild Wars 1, and it was an ice worm in the Shiver Peaks, but it was much further north. Yet this worm is also here named Frostmaw in the Shiver Peaks, but it's like 250 years later, and also the original Frostmaw, who I believe was the final boss of a dungeon actually, died in the original game, so it's unlikely that these two are the same Frostmaw, but this might be Frostmaw, like great-grandson of Frostmaw or something like that. And then let's go ahead and talk to this scout.
Imps and elementals run rampant over Highthorn Passage. Something in the mountains seems to call to them, something that speaks to their elemental nature. My research partner, Suki, maintains a lab east of Rock Lair. I'm sure she could use some help wrangling the beasties, if you're up for it.
And then let's go ahead and do this task as well. And I wanted to mention something that is kind of coming up in Guild Wars 2, where at the time that I'm recording this video, the 4th expansion for Guild Wars 2 is about to be released, and it's called Secrets of the Obscure, and I'm pretty excited for it. But we are not going to get to that point in a very, very long time. It's going to be many episodes from now where we are exploring like the primary content of that expansion. But there are a couple of changes being introduced in that expansion that we are going to be messing around with in this Let's Play series, because it's going to be relevant to our own experiences. Where largely there is going to be 3 things coming up, and this is kind of just a spoiler for the expansion and stuff as well, but I just wanted to talk about it. Where basically the first thing that is being changed is the daily system in the game, where the current login rewards that we have been interacting with and then the daily achievements that we can do are all going to be changing. So what we have previously been interacting with is not going to be something we will be interacting with in the future, and there's going to be a new system that we will actually be able to interact with a little bit, and then we that basically replaces what is currently in the game, and then that system will be expanded upon with like additional stuff once we get to the expansion, but that's going to be once we get to the expansion. The second thing is that there's going to be a new equipment item, which is actually super exciting because that's never happened to the game, where basically if we come into our equipment panel, we have our rings and accessories, which we don't have either of, and like our necklace and backpack right here. There's going to be an additional one of these, and then also the runes we put into our armor are going to change a little bit with the expansion, but we really haven't explored too much of that. But this will unlock when we reach level 60, so a little bit of a teaser for that. Once we reach level 60 on this character, we'll actually be interacting with that new thing coming in the expansion. And then the third thing coming with the expansion is that there might be slight visual overhauls of some previous assets in the game that have been hinted at. So depending on whether or not that's actually true and if we will be experiencing that in the future, that'll be something that we look at a little bit. I'll point it out and stuff like that. Plus we'll just naturally see it as we explore some of the areas that might be getting updated in the game. And this video might actually release after the expansion releases, but I'm recording it before the expansion, and then that might be the same for a few videos after the expansion releases, because I'm trying to get ahead a little bit with my videos, because I'm about to be on vacation for like 5 weeks, so that's not going to be any opportunity for me to make videos, but I still want to like upload the videos to my YouTube channel while I'm gone. So I'm trying to put in like a lot of extra work beforehand so I have some videos rolling out. So it might be a little bit before we start experiencing some of those features coming in the new expansion that will be impacting us as we play through the core version of Guild Wars 2. And then even then, some of the features we aren't going to even be experiencing in like the immediate episodes, as like the stuff at level 60 will be stuff that we experience at level 60, and then some of the daily stuff we will probably highlight in a future episode when I feel like it's a good time to highlight it. But beyond that, we can go ahead and return to what we are currently doing in map completion right now, where we just completed this task so we can get the reward here. And then the next thing we have is this scout right here and this point of interest at this priory camp, which is actually a pretty cool camp. I've always liked this spot. And then the Surrend Research camp right there as well. But let's go ahead and talk to this scout.
The German priory has run into trouble in the Molotage digs. A research team is looking for relics that hold information about the war between dwarves and destroyers, but Dredge are attacking the excavators. As the researchers progress, the destroyers themselves have started appearing.
So I think I'm going to go ahead and take a quick detour over here, and we have the map portal to Bloodtide Coast, which is the last zone that we spent a lot of time exploring in, and I want to go ahead and get this waypoint right here and this point of interest and then this hero challenge here, and we can see that we are now in the area where we are transitioning into the southern part of Lornar's Pass, where it's very green and lush and foresty-ish and like kind of Kryden and Steamspur Mountainy, like those environments where we have Bloodtide Coast right here, so it's kind of blending into the zone of Kryden. But then we have the Steamspur Mountains south of us, which is kind of like a mountainous region, where Kryden is more like a plainsy region that also has mountains. But Steamspur Mountain definitely has some bigger mountains going on in that region of the world. And it's green instead of snowy. But let's go ahead and interact with this hero challenge right here, and we can go ahead and go on this brawl right here, which shouldn't be too difficult because our ranger is actually pretty powerful right now. I think we have some decent gear, and we also got like a pretty good build going on. I remember we were going for a little bit of a brawlery build with like our 2 axes, and then we also have our longbow right here, which our longbow 2, which is rapid fire, is a very fun skill. But we can go ahead and check our map here, and I might uncover the map art here, and I just realized that these catapults are actually pretty cool. I've never looked at these actually. So here I am 10 years in taking a look at these catapults, and they have like lion heads on them, and they look like actual lions, where you can see there's like supports for like helping the catapult stand right there that look like feet, and then they have wheels, so you can probably move this around like a wheelbarrow. You probably need like a couple people to do that. But this is a really cool model that I actually don't think I've ever looked at before, so that's cool. But let's go ahead and uncover this map art right here of Foss Lake, and we will be returning here in a little bit, but I think I'm going to come up here and let's go across a really cool bridge that I like, where there are a bunch of cool bridges in this map. The 2 of them I love quite a bit, but let's go ahead and go across this bridge here, which is actually part of an event where this bridge can get destroyed and you can like defend it, or if it does get destroyed you can help rebuild it by defending the builders. But let's grab this waypoint right here. And then there is a point of interest on this bridge, but I just really love this area of Lornar's Pass as well, because we are passing over like a cool little canyon right here. The bridge itself is pretty cool, but if you look off to our right, we have a great view of Foss Lake right here, and we can see like the pirate haven in the center of the lake right there. And then we can continue going across the bridge, where we are now currently like back in the snowy area, but as we cross over the bridge we start entering the more of the greener areas of Lornar's Pass, and I just love this transition with the bridge and with Foss Lake right there. But let's go ahead and wander around here. There are a couple of tasks and a waypoint and a vista and a couple of points of interest that we can go ahead and unlock in this area of the world. And this spot right here is just a little bit more of the dredge activities that have been going on with this map, where of course we know they don't like the dwarves, and then the Priory who do like the dwarves are kind of like at war against them, especially since the dredge want to like erase the memory and the history of the dwarven people, while the Priory really want to like preserve all the knowledge of the world. So let's go ahead and just sneak in here and kind of kill a bunch of the dredge, where we have been interacting with a lot of dredge in this map, but the next map in this zone is going to be very dredge heavy, where it's kind of similar to the Centaur storyline, and now it's wanting me to make like a Story of the Dredge video like I did with the Story of the Centaurs video. But with the Centaurs, we kind of see them being a big threat in the Crichton regions, where we start seeing them a little bit in Queensdale, and then we deal with them in Kessex Hills, and then in Gendarn Fields, and then we really deal with them in Harathi Hinterlands, which we haven't gotten to that point in that map yet, but we will be dealing a lot with like the final boss of like the Centaurs, kind of the leader of the Centaurs, where we see with the dredge, we start interacting with them in Wayfair Foothills, and then there's some stuff going on in Diasa Plateau and some stuff going on with them in Snowdon Drifts. But then we come over here to Lornar's Pass, where there's also stuff going on in Gendarn Fields a little bit, as they kind of like branch off in this area of the road. But as we get to Dredgehaunt Cliffs, we will be able to have the opportunity to kind of deal with the leader of the dredge and kind of like this area of the world, and we can kind of like stop the dredge in a way and just fight back against like their main forces. But we'll start exploring that map very soon. But as we complete this task, we can go ahead and start heading over here, and we can get this point of interest. And then I should probably check my level. I'm currently level 36, and we are fighting at level enemies, so we might want to use a couple of our Tomes of Knowledge. I currently have 4 on this character for login rewards, so I might end up using a couple of those just to kind of boost our leveling here a little bit. Let's try to get, oh, this point of interest is around this corner here. I think let's come up here first, because I see we have a waypoint up here that I missed, and then there's a point of interest and a vista that we can get over here, where I got that waypoint, and that leveled me up to level 37, so it's going to help out our endeavors there a little bit, where this is a huge upgrade. Let's go ahead and get this upgrade. And then coming up here, we have a spoiler for Living World Season 1, so some story that's not super far away, but is not the current story right here, where we have all this metal on the ground here, and we're going to completely ignore this, except for the fact that we're going to take a nice long look at this vista that's going to be kind of highlighting this area. But this is a story for another day, so let's go ahead and come down here, and then we have, oh, I missed this point of interest right here. This is very awkward. Just gonna sneak around here real quick. Just grab that, and then let's go ahead and run down here where we can get this point of interest, which I actually think is a statue to one of the human gods, if I remember correctly, or I believe it's a statue to Dwayna. Or if we come up here, we have Sky Lady's memory, which, yes, this is, I believe, a statue of the human god Dwayna, who is right here, which I believe this is a somewhat important spot for the original Guild Wars when you were exploring through this area, but I'm not entirely sure, so I might look at that, and if I remember, I'll go ahead and throw something down in the description. But let's go ahead and grab this waypoint right here, and point of interest, and there's an event going on right here where the destroyers are attacking this place, so this is probably going to be a good opportunity for us to complete this event, or this task. So let's go ahead and complete this event while we do it, and we can get some bonus experience as we do that. Where there are going to be a total of 12 waves of destroyers, but there were 2 already dead and we just killed 2. And then I should probably take a look at my hero panel here and see if there's any like new things we can train, where we currently have 35 hero points and we've only thrown stuff in marksman, so we could go ahead and complete this trait line, and that kind of uses up all our hero points. So if we come over here, we can increase the strike damage of ourselves and our pets against people that are stunned, or we can get opening strike, which will increase our damage with the first attack and whenever we start fighting an enemy, or your longbow and harpoon skills pierce and recharge faster. Striking foes beyond the range threshold grants boons, which I think I'm going to go ahead and go with that one because we do use our longbow quite a bit here, and I have already almost completed this task, which is good. So let's go ahead and just throw these traps down on the ground, and then I might go ahead and exit out this way, and I got this point of interest, and it looks like the next thing is this scout over here. So let's go ahead and run this way and talk to this person.
Fool! Pirates from Greybeard's Landing and Jetsam Isle are always threatening Kuluku Quaggins. Quaggins are peaceful. Will you help Quaggins?
So now we can start exploring Foss Lake here, which we came and we did a story mission on our Asuran character, but we can go ahead and climb up this mountain and get a good view of the area that we are heading to, and then we can start exploring that. If I can remember how to climb up this mountain, it's like that, I guess. And then do a few jumps this way where I think we can run up here, and then we have a couple of pretty simple jumps right there to get to this vista. This is probably one of my favorite vistas in the entire game. I just love this area. But let's go ahead and run down here, and we can go ahead and start exploring Foss Lake a little bit more. I noticed that the bridge over there that we crossed is actually now destroyed, so the event happened while we were gone and the bridge is destroyed. But this is also a great shot of like this direction here, where we were on top of that bridge not too long ago, and now we are down here and we can see it there, well, kind of in a destroyed state. But let's go ahead and start interacting with some of the pirates, and then we also have a Quaggan village right here. So let's go ahead and do this hero challenge first, I think, and then we can go ahead and try to get that point of interest and this vista. And this area is actually part of a pretty cool meta event chain that really isn't like too big of a meta. It's one of those metas that like it's just like a meta in name, and you don't really get like a lot of rewards from it, where we kind of see this in like the original release of Guild Wars 2, where there are some like pretty lengthy event chains, but overall don't grant you too much for completing the event chain, but it's still fun to do, and it's good experience if you're leveling. Where this meta has you basically helping the Quaggins kind of overthrow the pirate leadership here, where one of the pirates wants to be a pirate leader, and or just a pirate in general, but I think he ends up becoming a leader, and you can help him become a pirate. So that was our last hero challenge in this map, actually. So let's go ahead and come up here, and there are a bunch of pirates that we can fight, so let's go ahead and start progressing this. That was our 100th pirate killed, so we are 10% of the way there, a little bit more than 10% now, to getting that achievement. can run up here and get the Jetsam Isle point of interest, and then there are just a lot of pirates around here. There's a safari pirate there, and then a Norn and a human right here. So let's go ahead and do our AoE attack here, which I think whirling defense must be one of like my favorite skills in the entire game. It's just so satisfying to use. I also like the whirlwind skill on like a great sword, is it 2? That you get on Guardian, which I love quite a bit, which is kind of similar to this one, but this one just feels a little bit more satisfying. I fought my way to this vista, so let's take a look at this area. And then we can go ahead and fight a couple more pirates. We are currently at 80% map completion for Lornar's Pass, so we have made good progress so far. Where it seems like the southern half of this map is a little bit easier to map complete. I think like the area itself is just a little bit easier to navigate, and then I think it's a little bit like the stuff around here is a little bit closer together. I noticed some diving goggles right here. I might come back and dive into the water there, but I want to get to this waypoint, and then we could fight these pirates, and then we could probably just swim south a little bit, where we have this point of interest over here and this task and point of interest as well that we can fight, and then we can get to the next scout. Or if we kill this pirate, I think that's it. Yes, we completed this task right there, and we have 3 more to get. So let's run over here and get to these diving goggles. Oh, there's actually a pirate turret right here. Maybe I'll just destroy this so it doesn't shoot us while we're trying to dive. And then let's go ahead and put on these diving goggles and dive right there. So like a very short dive, and it's kind of rocky down there, and here comes a very interesting char on a special mount that we will eventually unlock. But let's go ahead and run this way a little bit. Oh, I should have grabbed that point, or that waypoint, when I was up there. Okay, I got this waypoint, so let's go grab that point of interest I was going to head to. Another cool type of bridge right there, where it's kind of just like a rock formation that's in the hills right there, but it makes a very cool natural bridge. But we got this Dwarven Ruins point of interest, and let's fight some more pirates. Where overall, this task right here is pretty similar to the one that we just did, except there isn't the meta event that goes on that I think started as we were leaving that area. But this place just has maybe an event that happens here, but mostly it's just a point of interest. And it's kind of an interesting spot because there is a vineyard here actually, where there is a pirate vintner, I believe is what the title is called, for people that like make wine from grapes and stuff here. Where if we come up here, I don't see the pirate, but we can go ahead and harvest like a couple of these grapes. I don't care too much about them. We might not even be able to get them. Oh, we can get them. So we can grab these 2 and then get back to fighting the pirates. But with fighting this pirate, we will be able to complete this task, which means we can go ahead and head on from this area, where we only have 2 more tasks in this area, but of course there are a few other things. Alright, coming up here, we have the bridge that we crossed the last time we were in this area, which is a really cool bridge, but I want to go ahead and hopefully not die here, and navigate across the road. And we can come over to this waypoint right here at Demon's Mall, and there is a really cool vista, which I actually have like a very vivid memory of trying to get this vista for the first time when I first started playing Guild Wars 2 all the way back in the day, where it's actually kind of tricky to get to. So we need to drop down here, I believe, and then we have to carefully jump right there, and then we have a couple of sketchy jumps right here. And first try, we can go ahead and run up here, and there's more diving goggles, and we can get this vista. That was a very cool shot with my wolf right there, where I actually might use that for the thumbnail, where I've never done that before, where I like screen grab something and use it for the thumbnail in the Let's Play series, but I might do that because that's such a cool shot. But let's go ahead and jump right here, and we can dive into the water here. And then we have a map entrance right here that heads to another map, which I believe is actually Blood Tide Coast, but it's further south. But we can go ahead and run up here. Where, speaking of like this map entrance, there are a lot of map entrances in the game, where there's one to Blood Tide right there, I believe, and then there's another one to Bloodtide, and then there's one to Lion's Arch, and then there's one to Gindaran Fields, and then there's one to Snowden Drifts, and then there are two to Dredgehaunt, or not one there, one here and then one here that both lead to Dredgehaunt Cliffs. So that is like 6 map entrances in this map, which is like a lot. But Lornar's Pass is definitely a very big map, where I think in the core release of the game it is the map that has the most points of interest in any of the core release maps, and I don't think that this map still holds the record with some of the newer maps that have been released, but it was definitely like a kind of like a big deal back in the day. I remember doing a trivia question about that with like some guild trivia where I like gave dies to the winner or the winners who like correctly answered like the different trivia questions, where that was one of the questions that I asked, and I still do that every now and then actually, but not as often anymore. But let's go ahead and come talk to the scout. Where we leveled up to level 38. I'll go ahead and grab the karma booster because I just like collecting those, and then we can talk to this person.
The residents of Vangier's Stead have been driven from their worm hunting grounds by Jotun. They are desperate for help.
So let's sneak back here, which is actually a very cool area that we currently cannot go to. But let's get that point of interest, and then let's get to this waypoint over here, and then let's start navigating around this area where there is a spot that we have not explored yet. So as we head up here, we can uncover this art, and then of course we have this task right here that we can complete as well, where we are going to be fighting some of the Jotuns over here, and then I think there's also the opportunity to fight some Ettins. But here is Jotun's Shoulders, which there are no points of interest right there, but there is one over here. So let's start heading over here, and when we get into the task area, we can fight these Jotuns here, and I think we can also fight the worms. Yes, fight the ice worms. So let's go ahead and just start clearing out the way here. Which I think Jotuns are one of the races in the game where there's a decent amount of lore for them, and they were in the original Guild Wars, but there definitely hasn't been a lot of love shown to them, with not a lot of like different like major stories going on, and you kind of just see them pop up here and there throughout like the rest of the game, where we mostly see them in the Shiver Peaks. And of course they are a fallen race, which is pretty cool because they used to be like one of the most important races in the world like thousands of years ago, and nowadays they are kind of just savages, which we explored that story on this character way back when. But I just find that story like pretty cool. I guess it's kind of one of those like traditional like fallen races type of stories where they are like a shadow of their former selves, which we've seen in fantasy like all the time, but they are definitely very cool. We have a runestone here that I don't really remember, called Grog Shadow Runestone. This stone appears to be an ancient Jotun runestone. It looks like there's not too much else going on with that. That might be part of an achievement or an event or something. Let's go ahead and fight one more Jotun so we can complete this task. And then there is a vista just south of here, I believe, that we can go ahead and fight past a few of those Edens that I was talking about earlier and get to. So we have Venison Pass right here, which is the name of this area that heads into Dredgehaunt Cliffs, the next zone of the game. And actually the Edens around here are like level 39, so we are like pretty much at the end of this zone, which this is gonna reach like level 40 for like the highest level mobs in this area. So we are like pretty much right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop down here and let's take a look at this vista. And then we can drop down a little further here where we can get this waypoint, and it doesn't look like there's a point of interest right here. And I think, oh, I was just about to say, I think I missed a point of interest, but there are 3 points of interest right there, and we only need 3 more. So let's grab this waypoint, which is the last waypoint in this map. And then it looks like I have not missed anything in this map because all the last map completion objectives are right here. Because there's a task that we can talk to the scout to learn about what we need to do in this area of the world.
Demon's Maw is home to an encampment of Ettins. A group of researchers bent on experimenting on the burly beasts have set up camp nearby. The researchers are ignorant to the danger Ettins pose and will surely need your help.
So let's go help the Ettins over here. or let's go help the researchers with the Edens over here. But we can run over here and we can get the first point of interest that is available for us. And then there is another point of interest back there, which I think is a shrine to one of the spirits of the wilds. So we have all these Asurans right here, and of course the Asurans are never up to any good. Etenworks lab, where they are kind of just trying to learn about the Edens here, and also reducing their population a little bit to make sure they don't become a threat to like all the Norn homesteads around this area, and like the Lion Guard and stuff. But we have a shrine to wolf right here, and we have some very adorable wolf pups. I love I love seeing these wolf pups around the world. But let's go ahead and shift our focus back towards the Etens, which I believe the entrance to this Eten like den or whatever is right over here, so we can start fighting our way through here, where there's actually an event going on that we could rush into actually and help out with that event. So here's the event. Let's go ahead and help fight this Eten here, and then we can also activate some of these observers right here and kind of just help clean out all the Edens around here. It looks like the event's heading out. Let's go ahead and progress further into here. And we are indeed going to touch the stuff around here, and we can go ahead and fight any Edens that kind of disagree with what we were doing. I think Edens are another one of those kind of like interesting races where there's a lot of them in the world, but there's not a lot of lore like surrounding them and not a lot of story, and they're kind of just like a typical like fantasy creature, but we really only ever see them used as kind of like villains in the Guild Wars 2, with like a couple of exceptions I believe, but for the most part they're kind of just like bad guys that we just fight to fight bad guys, because this is a game where you fight bad guys. That kind of brings up like an interesting thought with like different video games where you fight like a lot of creatures, where you really fight a lot of creatures in like games like Guild Wars 2 or like any game like World of Warcraft or Skyrim or whatever game where you fight people, where over time you end up killing a lot of creatures, where it's obviously a video game and there's like nothing wrong with like doing that. But if you were to like immerse yourself into the world and kind of like pretend that you are the character that you are playing as, where we are, let's just say on our Norn right here, we have fought our way through multiple different maps and we have killed probably over 1,000 different creatures, which if you were someone in real life that has killed like over 1,000 creatures, some people would probably say there's something wrong with you. But in the world of Tyria, that's just acceptable because that's just how the world is. And it's kind of like a very interesting like thing that you don't really think too much into, because you just fight creatures for gameplay purposes to have fun. But if you think about like the potential like ethical issues that surrounds that, it's kind of messed up. But on that note, we can go ahead and kill this Eten right here, and that will allow us to complete this task, which also means we complete the map of Lornar's Pass, which is definitely a big one. So we can go ahead and get this task reward here, and then we can get our map completion reward here, which we just get some items, which I need to clean out my inventory a little bit here. It's definitely a little bit of a mess. But then we have this mail right here from the Tyrian Explorers Society. Exploration of Lornar's Pass. Salutations. Word of your exploits continues to spread far and wide. No matter where you travel, you embrace those around you and help them in their times of need. Lornar's Pass has long been a challenge for travelers and adventurers alike, but you overcame all its unique trials with ease. But as your forays into the unfamiliar expand, be aware that the dangers will likely increase as well. It has been said that the most enduring legends are built upon the foundations of danger. Keep up the good work. Tyrian Explorers Society. So that is a very nice note, and let's go ahead and leave the map of Lornar's Pass, which we can take a look at here, which there is actually some stuff we have not explored in this map that we will be returning to, but as far as map completion goes, we have completed that. And let's go ahead and enter the next map in the game, Dredgehaunt Cliffs. Oh wait, wrong map. Let's just pretend we didn't come into here yet, where we have that waypoint right there we just discovered. Let's return to Lornar's Pass. That's a waypoint all the way up here, and let's enter the map of Dredgehaunt Cliffs. Whereas we enter into this map, there are a lot of Grawl right here, and it looks like they are kind of attacking the bear shrine right here or something, but let's go ahead and talk to this scout.
Welcome to Dredgehaunt Cliffs. You'll find a lot of Priory researchers in these parts. To the south is a camp investigating strange happenings with ice elementals. North of here, more researchers are trying to charm the Skrit, who may know about the ancient races and abundant magic in this area. If you're interested in helping out, check in with the researchers.
So I just want to start exploring this zone in this episode, where we will do a couple of things. Let's go ahead and just sneak in here real quick, get that point of interest, and then evacuate this area. There are a lot of Gra right there, and they are 2 levels higher than us, where we were pretty close to reaching level 39, which will allow us to kind of fight these enemies a little bit easier, and I might end up using a couple of our tomes of knowledge here. But let's go ahead and kind of just work around this area, and we can get to this point of interest, and then let's work on completing these tasks right here. There's actually an event going on that we can participate in. Just a bunch of Sons of Swanee right here that we can fight, and then some ice elementals and stuff like that as well, where this task is pretty quick to complete, and it looks like there's just 1 point of interest right there, and we leveled up to level 39, which is very nice, which of course we will get a upgrade to our items right there. I guess our gear wasn't as good as I thought it was, but it looks like we're just getting a little bit stronger with each time that we level up. Looks like the Durman Priory here are doing a ritual, which we weren't here at the start of the event, but we can go ahead and continue helping them as we complete this task here. I think Dredgehaunt Cliffs is one of my least favorite maps in the original version of the game, where it might actually be like my least favorite map, and because of that I really haven't spent a lot of time in this map. Of course I've spent quite a bit of time because I played this game a lot, but like, compared to like every other map in this game, this is probably one of my least played maps, and because of that there are definitely a few events around here that I have not participated in, and I don't really remember this event at all, which doesn't mean I didn't participate in it, but I just have no memory of it. But we completed that, which is cool.
Fools! You cannot hold back the power of Dragon! Your ritual is but a minor setback.
This event is giving me kind of like Arthas vibes, but I guess we're Tyrion Fordring right now. Let's go ahead and just fight this dragon shaman here, and I'm going to go ahead and... oh, my wolf went off to fight the Son of Swanee. Let's try to finish him off really quickly, and then we can turn our attention to this like mini boss right here. Not too challenging, but definitely a level higher than us and a veteran, but we defeated him pretty easily. And success is indeed theirs, all thanks to me. Let's go ahead and run back this way a little bit, and let's kill the Son of Swanee, and then we will have completed this task after maybe 1 more after this. Killing that ice turret worked. So basically after that one Son of Swanee, let's go ahead and head north a little bit, where we have this other task up here of course, but there's also this vista right here, and then I think I might actually waypoint somewhere to start exploring this map from a different angle that I want to showcase. But let's grab this vista first. But with having gotten this vista, let's go ahead and waypoint to Hoelbrak, which if we remember way back when we were exploring this area for the first time, I pointed out that there is an entrance to Dredgehaunt Cliffs at Hoelbrak, which we actually have not gotten map completion in this map for some reason. Which I guess I'm going to go ahead and take a quick detour, and we can go ahead and look at the rest of Hoelbrak really quickly, because there's just 1 more vista, 1 more waypoint at 3 more points of interest, and I'm not sure if I've been here on another character and I've gone through here. Let's go ahead and just look at this last little area right here, which is a decently cool area where it opens up with a statue of Jorah, who is a Norn hero from the original Guild Wars. But we can go ahead and grab this waypoint right here, and then we have this ice field right here, which is a pretty cool spot because it features an activity in the game that you can actually play, which we will be exploring in the future. But let's go ahead and come down here, and let's get this point of interest right here, and I am seeing 1 point of interest somewhere else in Hoelbrak, but let's go ahead and grab this vista and take a look at this area. And then it looks like our last point of interest is in the Great Lodge here, and it is Newt Whitebear's Loft, who is kind of like the de facto leader of Hoelbrak. Let's go ahead and come up here, and we can get this point of interest, and then when we load back into Hoelbrak, we will have gotten map completion here. We have Newt Whitebear just sitting there on kind of like a throne. Let's go ahead and exit out of here, and then let's go ahead and turn our attention to Dredgehaunt Cliffs, which, as I was just talking about, is a really cool kind of spot right here, where I mentioned when we were here previously, where we are kind of like in an area where like honestly level 2s come to, but it's kind of like more of a spot for like level 10s and higher. But then there is an entrance to a level 40 to 50 zone, and I just love when that's like present in games where you are like a very low level character and then you see like a high level zone right next to you that you can go to, just like we did right here. But now we are in another part of Dredgehaunt Cliffs, which isn't too far away, where we are currently right here, but we were here, so it's just like a short trip this way. But this is another spot where we can go ahead and get a few map completion objectives, like this vista right here. And then of course there is some other stuff in this area, and I just want to get some map completion done until I reach level 40, where we have another wolf shrine right here that we can get, Wolf Slayer Shrine, and then there is a point of interest over here and a waypoint here, and then I think we could come work our way towards this task here. And then once I reach level 40, I'm going to transition to doing the next step of the personal story, where I need to do chapter 4, which we have already done in this Let's Play series, but I am just going to do it really quickly so that we can progress to the next spot of the game. So we have a waypoint down here and then a point of interest that we can grab. So let's grab these two things right here. Here is another homestead right there, Bergtrode, however you pronounce that, probably Bergtrode or something like that. But let's go ahead and run this way, where we have kind of a cool spot where I believe this is like a Jotun structure right here, kind of like carved into the mountain, that we can go ahead and run all the way up here and we can get a pretty cool vista. And then there is a waypoint down here as well that we can grab. We are being attacked by griffins, but that is okay. I'm just going to drop down here very carefully, and these creatures are level 41, which shouldn't be too big of a deal for us. But we have a point of interest right here, and then we can go ahead and complete this task. Which this point of interest is a small prairie camp right here called the Landslide Lee, and then we can run into here, which is actually a Skrit Scratch, and we can go ahead and just help out the Skrit in this area. Where there's actually an event going on right here where there is a portal, but I think having this portal up is a little bit of an advantage to us because it's spawning a lot of enemies that are dealing quite a bit of damage to us that we can fight in order to progress this task. Let's go ahead and resurrect this scholar right here, and then we can fight another wave of these shadow imps that are coming through here, and we can just try to finish this task up. For completing this task, we should be at a level 40, and I think this will be a good stopping spot for us in our adventures right here, where we can just return here to this scout right here and kind of see what the next area of the map is, and we can continue exploring this area in the next episode, where I've just completed this task and leveled up to level 40. So let's go ahead and run out here, and I'm going to ignore this scout for right now, and we can go ahead and grab this waypoint over here, which we can return to this waypoint in the future. But I want to go ahead and start doing the personal story, which I think we have to run over here. But now that we are in Lion's Arch, I wanted to highlight an aspect of the personal story that I think I briefly touched on like 20 or like 10 episodes ago, that I kind of just want to focus on for the last couple of minutes of this Let's Play episode, where we have the personal story that we have been progressing through in the game, of course. And there is quite a bit of story that goes on where we can talk to the different people and we can watch all the cutscenes and we can complete all the different challenges with boss fights and different enemies we have to fight, and like the occasional puzzle here and there. But really, you can try to like rush through the story if you want to. Of course, if you're someone who enjoys the story, that's not going to be a good experience. But if you're just trying to like complete the game or whatever as fast as possible, if you don't really care about story, if you just want to unlock like certain stuff, you can really just skip through it pretty quickly. This is something that's pretty common in the first chapter of the personal story, where we see right there we just got a black line key from completing chapter 4, or the start of chapter 4, which we see people come here and do. Of course, we're completing the first chapter of the personal story. Once a week we'll net you a black lion key, so we see people rushing through that story, where this cutscene right there takes like 3 minutes, but we can just skip to the end. And I'm unfortunately getting really long loading times right now. Lines Arch, which is not a good thing. We can just read our mail, we can read through this, and then we can just run over here really quickly, and then we can pretty much skip this entire like first mission right here, where it's mostly just like 2 cutscenes if I recall correctly, where we are going to have the first cutscene with Gix because we are a member of the German Priory, and then we can talk to Siren, and we will have that cutscene there where we are talking to whatever Siren, whatever the name is there, but excuse me, and then we can press escape once this loads in, or I guess we actually can't skip this cutscene. Well, now that that cutscene is over, we can go ahead and talk to Siren, we can just skip this, and now we can go to Molent Summit, which of course we have to click this button here to get the overview map of the road, and then Molent Summit is right here, so we can waypoint straight there. If you have knowledge about the game, it makes everything a little bit easier because you can just waypoint straight there. And of course we just completed Lornar's Pass, so this makes this story mission even easier. Whereas we load into the story mission, of course we are going to have to fight some creatures, and for people who enjoy speedrunning Guild Wars 2, you could probably find different skips and stuff where you can progress the story without having to fight too many things, as you learn where like you need to stand, and like you learn that some story missions you don't have to like fight everything, you just have to like activate and like trigger certain things in order to progress through the mission. Let's go ahead and just run through here really quickly, where I think we could press F on this first, and then Siren will come talk to it, and then that'll open up the next objective we have to go to, which we can go ahead and run to, and we are getting stun locked right now, so let's go ahead and dip out of here, and then we can come interact with this object, and then Siren will run here, and then I recall there's another object down here that we can come to, so let's try to clear all the dredge right here. Right, we have this third piece right here, and I'm kind of just skipping past everything, and then we have the boss right here that we can kill soon, but he is invulnerable. So we have the boss now that we can go ahead and just DPS down pretty quickly, and then we have some dredge that are spawning that we can go ahead and fight, and then I might throw in a couple of dodge rolls here, try to get my health back, and then we can just finish off the boss, which as we kill the boss it triggers a cutscene that we can go ahead and just skip through, and then we can exit out of this story mission. So skip through that, and then Siren's going to chat for a second.
I'm more insulted by his lack of imagination.
Thank you, Siren, very cool. And then we can go ahead and free the captives right here, and let's go ahead and finish this up where we can exit out of here, and then we can go ahead and waypoint to where we need to go for the next mission, which after going to the German Priory brings us back to this location. If you remember, we've been here a couple of times, and we can go ahead and just run past this and hope you don't get knocked down, where that's kind of like one of the things you can do with like some of these puzzles. You can just run through and just hope you don't get knocked back, which was successful for us there. But let's go ahead and run through this way, and then I recall there was something we had to do down here, I think, but we might be able to just run straight up to here. And then of course there are going to be some mobs that we have to fight in the room coming up, if I recall correctly, but I think we can just skip to the bottom and we can fight the, well, there's 2 Norn down there, but we only fight one of them. So let's go ahead and run across this way. I think Siren is still talking, but we can make progress to where we need to go, which is right here. So we almost beat her up here even though she's just teleporting, but now we are up here, so let's just run down here. Of course I tried to dodge that, but then I got hit on the other side. And then we have these sunset spawning right here, which we can go ahead and just fight really quickly because we are waiting for Siren, and we might have to fight them to progress the mission. But let's go ahead and finish this one off, and then we can drop down here, and we could probably trigger the cutscene with this Norn where they are talking, where we have already killed at least 2 Norn the last time we did this story chapter, but we can go ahead and just go through it again. Skip this cutscene, and then I think we have an option here. So we picked, we could try to find the sheath, or we could build a containment device. So let's go ahead and just build a containment device. I am of course not going to really focus on like the story and the dialogue going on in this mission, even though it's kind of new, because it's pretty much like the same exact thing we did. But another nice thing about kind of just speeding through the story there is that I just leveled up to level 41, and we leveled up to level 40 like in real time, like 15 minutes ago, I think, where in this video it's probably been like about 2-3 minutes, something like that. but we can just get to this story mission, and then including this one, there are only 2 left for this chapter of the personal story. So we are here at Reaper's Gate. Let's go ahead and just run past all these shades here, and then we can go ahead and create the containment vessel, which of course, as we've been talking about, kind of the bright sides of going through the personal story quickly, one of the negatives is that you don't really know what's going on, and I don't really recall the story mission at all.
One giant statue of Grim. Hold a moment while I collect some shavings.
So she's collecting shavings.
With a giant statue of a god of death, this was surprisingly pleasant. There, I've got what we need. Let's head back.
And now we can head back, but something just spawned, so let's go ahead. And actually, we might be able to just run straight past all of these creatures, so let's just run this way, and then I think that we'll be able to start the cutscene that we need to finish this story mission, which means we will have only been in this instance for like less than 2 minutes, which is very cool for like completing things pretty quickly. But we can get here, and then as Siren crosses here as she runs this way, but she's kind of lagging or bugging out a little bit here. There she goes. We can go to the Dermot Priory, where we have another part of this story mission. We're at the Priory. We can go ahead and test the containment device that Siren made with the shavings from the Grint statue, and then we will probably have to kill something is my guess. So it seems like there's some serious issue with this containment device, and let's go ahead and fight these shades here. Then we have completed this mission, which means there is only 1 mission left all the way down here where we have the waypoint to, so we can run up there and then we can kill Stieg Frostbeard. So I think we have to kill all of the Sons of Svanir right here, but we can go ahead and kind of just start attacking Stieg right away. And I think this mission is pretty much the exact same as the last time we were here. So let's go ahead and kill Stieg Frostbeard quickly, and then we can go ahead and try to kill the rest of the Sons of Svanir right around here. So let's go ahead and stun him, and then switch to our longbow here. And then looks like this Son of Svanir is helping us against Stieg Frostbeard here, as he is about to transform. As he is kind of invulnerable right there, we can go ahead and focus our attention here. And then Stieg is coming back in, so let's try to bring him around this way, where we have these 2 Sons of Svanir right here that we can go ahead and pull in this way and try to AoE them down together. Stieg is attacking my wolf right there, so let's go ahead and let's just try to group them up as best as we can. I could call my wolf in a little bit, throw down 1 AoE right here, swap to my axe, do another. Let's sick my wolf back on Stieg here, and then Stieg will die, meaning we will have completed this chapter of the personal story once we return to the Dermot Priory. Where with completing this chapter, we can go ahead and pick which of the lesser races of the world I want to explore on this character, which I'm going to go ahead and go with the Graw on our Norn character here. So I'm going to go ahead and select I could learn a lot by studying the psychology of the Graw. Go ahead and pick that, and I choose to study the Graw, and we have completed this chapter of the personal story, which means we can start chapter 5 once we reach level 50. We have Erstegauken here saying, "Tales of your recent deeds have reached as far as Hoelbrak, and the servants of your order speak highly of the many things you have done. Already you prove that my faith in you is well placed. As for myself, I have been traveling. I've been investigating the legend of a powerful sword, the Matchter with locks, that may yet exist within the catacombs of Ascalon. Zoja still fights for Snaf's legacy, while Kaith roams the Caledon forest, keeping her own counsel. I hear Logan's return to Kryda. I suppose I should not be surprised. He fears for his queen's safety, and rightly so. There are many who seek to destroy the treaty between the Char and the humans. We must stop them if we are to succeed in saving Tyria from the dragons. You are doing well, Slayer. Continue on your path, and you will hear from me again very soon, Heir." So let's go ahead and get this unlock right there, and then let's go ahead and waypoint back to where we were in the Dredgehaunt Cliffs, where in the next episode of my Let's Play series we will start off right here and we'll talk to the scout, and we'll continue exploring this map of the Dredgehaunt Cliffs, where I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode. There was quite a bit going on in this episode, and I think this is a little bit of a longer one, but we got everything done that I wanted to do, and we gained like 8 levels in the process, which is very cool. But I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time in the world of Tyria. Goodbye.